This story is one in a series about the confluence of capitalism, conservation, and cultural identity in the Mississippi River Basin. It is part of Waterline and is sponsored by the Walton Family Foundation. In the Stone Age, Neolithic folks used willow branches and mud to build roundhouses for their families. Jump forward several thousand years and European farmers were fashioning panels of stitched willow called hurdles to fence their farms or screen their gardens. Meanwhile, Native Americans constructed frames of black willow stakes and branches for the sweat lodges where their spirits were purified. Today, dozens of species of willow are fitting into the toolkits of ecologists and conservationists who find these trees fine specimens for preventing the decimation of the Ohio River Basin. By incorporating willow, their aim is to minimize erosion while keeping its 7 major tributaries as free of pollutants as possible. That basin, the largest riparian offshoot of the Mississippi, is one of its most precarious, mainly as a result of unpredictable flows and decades of pollution from the likes of power plant drainage and fertilizer runoff. Riverbanks in the Cincinnati area and in Appalachian, Ohio, experts say, need to be stabilized not just to keep farmland and townships flood-free, but to keep the waters from the Muskingum to the Little Miami flowing rhythmically and consistently southeastward into the Mississippi. And willows, conservationists and growers say, may be one of the most sustainable two-birds-one-stone fixes to getting the done. Living Willow Farm hosts workshops on the uses, physical properties and field cultivation of willow. Credit Howard Peller Living Willow Farm. What's not to love? Says Amy Stewart, owner of 65 Willows, a willow farm 20 minutes west of Cincinnati. They are incredibly easy to propagate. They grow like weeds. They grow on every continent in the world except for Antarctica. They are very adaptable. They don't particularly care what kind of soil they are in. And they are great for riverbanks because they are water-loving plants. If in the head of a conservancy district or the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, my traditional route to firming up banks and bends is reaching for rocks, riprap, loose stone tossed in heaps, or a slanted slope of concrete. The issue in someone like Stewart's mind is that rock, which can cost hundreds of dollars per ton, isn't doing much other than one singular task: preventing erosion. What farms like 65 Willows can do is provide conservationists with live willow stakes rods ready to green that they can use instead. These conservationists will stick thousands of stakes buds up into the riverbank in a zigzag diamond pattern, miles at a time, with the hope that in 3 to 4 months their roots will lodge tightly into the earth, creating an underground patchwork strong enough to keep high waters at bay. Weighed down by negative news. Our smart, bright, weekly newsletter is the uplift you've been looking for. Although willow posting has been a practice since the early 1930s in Ohio, with the restoration of the Mohican River, the method of staking riverbanks has been resurfacing in the past 5 years as conservancies spend pandemic-era dollars gathering willow rods from nearby farms for about $1 a stake, or sometimes just gratis. They are being planted up on the Chagrin River in Cuyahoga County to help restore Mill Creek and Paddy's Run outside Cincinnati up in northeast Ohio, where volunteers have been staking the Maumee River. And recently, teams at the Ohio River Foundation (ORF) have been using black and sandbar willow to keep Twin Creek, a tributary of the Great Miami River, flowing soundly. Jessica Rice, the restoration project manager at ORF, who led 3 plantings at Twin Creek over the years, says the co-benefits of staking go beyond what the human eye can typically discern. Yes, willows are green and prettier to look at than concrete, and they are cheaper than riprap and rock jetties. But as limnologists, scientists who study inland bodies of water such as lakes, rivers and wetlands who plant with her know, willows being so comfortable with wetlands in the first place come with the added benefit that they are almost like natural seeds. They soak out nutrients from creeks and streams that will, in turn, strengthen the soil they are locked into. And they are going to produce habitat for things above the water, Rice says, like mink and beavers. The latter also being a possible menace using stakes as building material. They are going to create shade that hangs over the water, which will also keep the water temperatures lower, which is beneficial for fish and macroinvertebrates. Sarah Benton found the same with planting stakes along the Hocking, Muskingum and Shade rivers. A watershed project manager for Rural Action, a non-profit geared towards watershed restoration, Benton has witnessed her own multi-use for the species. She found that the willow rods that help purify acidic water runoff through limestone beds are the same ones she can use for free to stake along Chase Run or privately at the Future Days Farm in Albany, Ohio. But just because willow is low-cost acts as a natural purifier and is loved by nearly every species that may scamper nearby, this doesn't mean it's without caveats. Unlike riprap or concrete, willow stakes need about 3 months to grow secure along the riverbank. And there's no guarantee, Benton says, that an arm at Creekside will hold steady throughout flood season. I don't want to give folks the idea that willow staking is a silver bullet, Benton says. It's just easy to do, and there are a lot of co-benefits to doing it. Of course, it's good business as well for a willow farm.
Howard Peller, a basket farmer who owns Living Willow Farm in Roseville, Ohio, probably the largest willow farm in the country, he says doesn't really need to help stabilize riverbanks.
He makes a great living already constructing domes, huts and fences that all cost clients thousands. Following a wattling workshop on the Blackstone River,